Ladies and gentlemen, MACC Malone. It's on. What up, dude?
You already know that. What's up with it, big homie?
Man, I'm good, man. Appreciate you coming back on, dude. It's been a minute.
Man, it's been a minute, and we all still here. You know what I mean?
That's the main thing, dog. That's the main thing. Your grandma raised you. Can you explain in her words, if you can, how hard it was for a grandmother to raise a young boy in the hood around that time?
It was a struggle. Hey, look, so I went to juvie, right? I did like maybe 11 months. Like I went to camp and shit. So I got a court release. Nigga, she came to court, and when we got off, look, let alone, I got into a fight on the way home coming from camp. Put it like that, on the bus. We get off the bus. She's, saying whatever she's saying. I say, well, look, mama, I know, that wasn't a good intro to me coming back. You feel me? But I got to go on this side of the street or like across the street, and you got to stay on this side of the street. I'm going to meet you at the house, but right now it's not the good time for me to be walking with you and some niggas pull up and then you a victim. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it was like, she already knew what was going on. Like she used to be like, she didn't brag about it, but she used to say, I raised up a gangster, and I raised up, like I said, she wasn't proud of it, but a crackhead, talking about my daddy, because he ended up, being a crackhead and, doing his little stupid shit, but I was the gangster of them all. So it was hard with both of those. Mind you, even though my dad was an adult, it was like she was still raising two kids in the world, so she had it tough.
What are some of the things that you experienced with having a pops who was addicted to crack?
Like we used to stay across the street from the motherfucking from the eatery, right? A little diner or whatever. Damn. It was, back in the 80s, it was like dirt cheap. So a cheeseburger special was like $2.50.
Yep.
Here goes $2.50. Kenny, just walk him across the street before you decided, going about your way. Just make sure you get that, the cheeseburger special. You think that nigga did that?
Damn.
Going about, look, we get to the corner of the street at the light. He take the money from me. All right, look, I'm gonna bring you when I come back. You have it this evening. Don't go and go back home. I had to rush back home. Did I get that? Nope.
Dang.
So I had to kind of. But see, it don't stop there though, because I've also had some good shit with my nigga. You feel me? Because that's my pops.
Yeah.
And he was. I just seen the crack at it. I seen it when the crack influx hit LA. You feel me? I was one of those kids used to go to MacArthur Park and run around before they flattened it out to be like, I guess, one little shit when it used to be the tunnel and everything up under there.
Yeah, talk about LA before crack, man. Yeah. From what you remember.
It was LA shit. Before I could see an abundance of crackheads, I could see an abundance of alkies, winos. And that's just like, because I went to kindergarten, I don't even know the name of the school, but it was on the east side of South Central, or South LA, as they say now, you feel me? And that's all I remember. Like, I used to feel sorry for the older people that used to be, like, laying on cardboard boxes and shit, in front of stores and always asking us for money or for some change. I'm like, man, what the f-? And then the majority of them motherfuckers was black. And it was some Latinos, but they didn't really count because the influx was more black. So I'm like, damn. As I kept living life, I'm wondering, even as I started fucking up, doing my dumb shit as in this gangbang shit, right? Like, damn, are we really cursed? Because this shit does not shake a nigga for nothing.
Man.
You feel me? Like, but that's when I said it, though. Because it starts back way at it. Man, I told you before, didn't I tell you I was kidnapped when I was a little boy?
Tell that story again.
Me and my mom.
Please tell that story again.
Me and my mom. Then she used to, do her thing, prostituting and shit. This is back when, like, in the schoolyards. What's that? La Brea and Washington and all through there. And if I'm saying the right proper cross streets. So, I don't know what she was doing on her end. Because, look, she passed away already, right? Maybe she rest in peace. She passed in, like, January. She swears she don't remember that.
Wow.
So I'm like, remember, like, but see, she up because the first time she did remember when I questioned her about it. And then the second time, I don't even remember that. So we're going to let that slide, though. But, man, it was like back in those days, La Brea and Washington, which you might see now might be like a deli or like a some kind of, shopping plaza mall type shit. But at one time, that probably was a hotel motel, not a hotel, but a motel. And you know, I lived in that bitch with my mom. You feel me? And my granny, and my dad, mom used to come get me on the weekend. I used to go over there and live the life, and then come back to torture.
Fuck.
Shit. I mean, like nothing was going on with me, like you know, none of that weird shit. But you know, just to sit back and man, to this day, I really don't like bologna sandwiches or those fucking sandwiches that got the salami, like the
little shit inside of them, or the ring around them, the whole yeah.
You know, man, that's all the nigga ate. But yeah, and we got kidnapped. Shit, some white man in a motherfucking truck.
Damn. What do you remember?
But then it was another white dude. He had a white bit, not a white Benz, a white Volkswagen. I never would forget it. Oh, I don't remember that.
Damn, that's a pretty big event not to remember.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But, you know.
Damn. Well, shit. How old were you when you did your first stint behind bars? What was it, juvie or camp?
Juvie. That was in '89. That was Yep.
Okay.
So basically, the story behind that was I was 12 years old, right? September, right? Look, so I remember this for a fact. I was listening to KDAY 1580 AM. It used to be a commercial called 976-7070.
Wow.
It's a good line and it's full of. Man, I wore that number out.
Wow.
Right?
I'm about your age, so I definitely remember that commercial.
Yeah, man, you know, that's some G shit. So, man, my dumb badass, I wore the number out, you know what I mean? And I knew around the time the bill was supposed to be coming. So she got paid that same day. So it was a Friday. I went to school. After school, I didn't come back for like 2, maybe 3 weeks. You feel me? And yeah, I ran away from home, shit. But it wasn't just because of that. It was just because also it was other shit like with me and my dumb ass, like I keep saying, me and my dumb badass at the time, you know? Thinking that I knew everything and how to, you know, run shit, and got out there in them streets and was homeless, living in cars and shit for them little few weeks, and caught my first case for a G-ride, and yeah, got stabbed in the hand during that mission, you know. It's just like, all I remember thinking back, I was just like in some apartment, and the word was, your homie Milo's across the street or around the corner, and he's, you know, squabbling it out or something. So I don't know, like not like I was all that so much of a big gangster type dude, but I was the only one that ran over there. Bam, I get over there. We both getting chased up and down the street by some adults. They in a fucking truck. I think they were from some Filipino gang that don't even exist no more. Boy, they probably do exist. I don't know. I don't be hanging out like that. Santanas. So this nigga that like they chasing us, man, up and down the street. So while they chasing us, I don't know what the fuck. He gets away. I get caught. I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, of course he had to hop out the truck. So as he's on top of me, like pounding the shit out of me, he pulled out a knife. Or the knife probably was already out. And shit, next thing I know, as I felt the stabbing or that one slice on my hand, because he tried to, you know, hit my face, as you know, as he coming down with it, I got a homie, he rest in peace, a Mexican partner of mine named Lil Man. And he come rolling up on his Diamondback and cracks him over the, you know, over his, you know, body, over his face with the damn Diamondback bicycle. Bam, at the same time as he do the little cut, bam. That's when he got hit. So that gave me leeway and leverage to get up, and bam, I get up out of there. But that was the end of that story.
Damn.
And after that, you know, I had to go to the hospital. So, you know, what's your name? So I couldn't give them what I gave the police. You know, when I got busted for that G-ride, because I gave them a fake name. Oh, yeah, I forgot to say that, too. I gave these dudes a fake name. They put me in juvie. Nobody came to court. So since nobody came to court back then, it was easy to, basically get released, because they'll just send you to a placement. Or like with they open placement, not like Camp Kirby or like Placement Kirby. But so you would go to a placement. Mine was in Santa Monica, and then I went to one in San Dimas. You know what I mean? Or was it San Dimas in Santa Monica? Either or. But yeah, so and then when you get there, you can either stay under that fake bullshit name, or you can be, you know, get up out of there real easy. You know, AWOL, escape.
Damn.
But yeah, all that shit happened within like 2 to 3 weeks. You feel me?
Explain to people what camp is.
All right, it's like on paperwork they'll call it, the full name for it is Camp Community Placement, and that's juvenile camp. For bad mothers, jail basically. And you got your lockdown camps, and then you got your open camps, such as like Camp Miller. That's next door to Kilpatrick. That's an open camp. But Camp Kilpatrick, I was there. That's a lockdown camp. Camp Rocky, that's a lockdown camp. Camp Gonzalez, more. What do I say? Security based and shit. I don't know about now because this is now. You feel me? I don't know what it is now, but back in those days, yeah. But see, look, all right. So like, so that's camp. So I remember when I was in camp, right? Like on the weekend, I tried to be a part of the Mustangs and shit, right? And it was working out, But I was there in '93. And I was able to be a part maybe like 2 or 3 times on a weekend to go to, what's the brother's name? He does the American now shit. Joe Brown.
Jim Brown.
Come up there and pick us up. Yeah, Jim Brown. I said Joe Brown. I don't know shit, right? Hey, but yeah, man. So, and I went to Wayside years later as an adult and took that class and passed with flying colors. My teacher was asleep from schoolyard.
Okay. And you said you did time in CYA, I believe, in our last conversation also, right?
Yeah, I went to what they call, they started real YA, but nigga, I was in jail, nigga. So what if it had bitches? So what?
What was it called?
Was in jail, nigga. Ventura School. When I got there, it was Ventura School. By the time I paroled, they had changed the name to Ventura Correctional Facility.
And you had females there?
Yes, sir.
So explain what your experience was like in CYA.
So I went to YA in my wheelchair, you feel me? And so that was like a mental thing, like, I just was walking and sucking out shit, getting sucked out, you feel me? Able-bodied ass nigga. And here I go, getting up out of camp, and hey man, let's go to the skating rink. So I missed the first 2 times, I guess. I think the homies, if I'm remembering right, the homies that I was hanging around, they were from different like little shits. Like a couple of them was from Harlem, and then a couple of them was from Trouble, right? But it's back in MBT days. You feel me? Leimert Park days. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
So we went there to the damn skating rink, and like I said, I was the only one that got kicked out because we knew better than to be in a bunch. But when I walked by that Asian dude that used to be the security dude there, everybody that used to go to World on World skating rink back in the day, they some G's, nigga. They know about that age. Back in the day, we thought everybody was the Chinese. But his name was Pete, Officer Pete, because that was when he used to do the security dude. The security shit at the skating rink is when he was like off duty, like a little side hustle. So bam, I walked by him. He smelled me. Man, and kicked me up out of there. He said, "Look, man, I already know. I'm not knowing if I like for sure, but I'm pretty sure you're on parole or probation. Yes. Which one? I'm on parole. No, I'm on probation. I'm just gonna say this one time, man. Just leave the fucking premises and just because you smell like fucking weed. I thought somebody was smoking up in here. Damn. So I'm out of there, and then while I'm up out of there, the back door. It had a back way to sneak motherfuckers up in there. So anyway, I attempted. I got up in there again. And this time he catches me again later on up in the game, up in the night. Now, we had a 7 to 7 event. Everybody that don't know, that's a 7 in the evening, 7 p.m. to 7 in the morning. And they won't close. They'll open up the doors to let people in, but they won't let them out unless they're kicking your ass out. You feel me? So I got kicked out. So I attempted to get in. I got in again, and then I got kicked out again, and he warned me. So I already knew, I had common sense like a mother back then. You only get 3 times, or if that. You feel me? So that was the second time of me getting, ran up out of there. I'm not finna make it a third. As I'm outside, next door was the bowling alley, or is the bowling alley, or was or something. But I'm in front of the bowling alley, and I remember I was asking the dude, I said, open up the door. Like, let me in. He said, I can't do that, man, because of time. You feel me? I said, man, these dudes, they finna get me. So all I remember And I didn't remember that for years, right? But you know, after a certain while, shit started coming to you and shit. So evidently, I had already got sweated by these dudes or banged on. It's the same shit, sweated, banged on. You know what I mean? And here I go. Hey, man, let me up in this. This nigga's finna get me, man. No, man, I can't do that. So next thing I know, one of the dudes I went up there with to the skating rink was by my side. Like, all of a sudden, he's there. And these niggas reappeared. And shit, I don't know. Like, I knew the nigga that shot me, though. Anyway, I ended up getting shot in the head 2 times. Over really, like, it was over some gang shit because, you know, it led to where you from. And then I pushed the set, you feel me? I'm like, man, I'm from 6th Ave, EWF. Like, what the fuck is that? No, at first he was like, where you from? I said, I'm from 6th Ave. I said, what's that? I'm like, oh, I'm from EWF, EW. Oh, yeah. And I reminded him, you know, my homie, Lil Life, he rests in peace now. So, bam. I'm like, you know, my homie, Lil Life, Lil Sting, and da-da-da. He's like, yeah, they're my little partners, We get to around the corner, and, you know, outside still, and this nigga already, like, kind of sort of there, because we was walking in the pack, and this nigga already got the pistol, the blammer out, cocked back and everything, and he basically, like, robbed me and the nigga I was with. But, you know, I end up getting shot 2 times, you feel me? So,
damn. And you were in a coma for a couple weeks, right? After that?
Yep.
And the doctor said that you would never walk again.
Nothing. They say, man, if you do walk again, you have to walk with those chains that have the what do you call it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know, with the arm, like. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you actually beat the odds, right?
Man, not me. I said, not I. Said the Lokester. I refuse. But you know what really got me off my up out of that chair though when I went to YA because of the paperwork. I read it and it said suspect or it said subject is confined to a wheelchair. And then it said basically that later on I was confined to having 8 years and 6 months, which ended up being 9 years and 4 months, right? But that confined, I didn't like that, so nothing to confine. You might confine me to these walls and shit, but not me and my no. So I use that as motivation. You get it? Yeah.
Mentally, what were you going through, man, when you heard the doctor or someone told you that you're probably never going to walk again?
You know, I immediately thought about dudes that I knew that was like that and how they went through their struggle because, like I said, I'm not trying to put no extras on it, right? But I done been around some of the G's that had welcomed me in their homes. You feel me? Like my family is from Van Ness. You know what I mean? Like, so I was able to meet a couple of them dudes, and then one of them was in a wheelchair. I used to go over to his house in the jungles and help him. He rests in peace now, little Smokey B. You feel me? But I thought about him, then I thought about somebody else that I knew that was in the chair. You feel me? And then how they, you know, I don't know, just certain shit, but mainly just the ones that, you know, like Lil Smokey and this other dude from Van Ness named Snake. And I was there when them dudes got injured. You know what I mean? Like, and was basically like when they woke up that morning, they was cool like me, like you feel me? We put on our shit and we get on about our day. Who knows what's going to happen in the middle of the day? But I was there. And I seen the trauma. And so I just reflected back to them. And one of them got his mobility back and the other one didn't. But I just like the strongness. Like, you know how you motherfuckers say, oh, that dude's a strong-minded person, you know? For him to be having to go through this and then went through that, oh, that's a strong motherfucker. So I basically just adapted their ways and just remember, bam, and I use that as motivation.